Hey y'all, welcome back. I am back. I am your host, Yvonne Ventura, and you are in Yvonne Ventura's house. There is my co-host, Miss Mike. My two other co-hosts, Bruce and Chuck, are somewhere. They might cause some chaos, they might not. That's the beauty of being on this channel. So if you want to figure out if the cats are gonna do something, or if you just want to listen to me ramble and try to keep it together, like, subscribe, share, come join the fang. Come join the fam gang. We are 43 strong. I can't believe it. We are so close to 100 subscribers, which means you guys are that much closer to getting me to my goal of being able to eat 12 tacos in one sitting on camera for you all to see. Thank you. Thank you for the love, good vibes. Today is going to be a Ratchet retelling. If you missed my last video, which if you did, what the hell's wrong with you? Please go watch my last video. We went ahead and went shopping on Hoopla. Shopping. Hoopla's free, by the way. We went shopping on Hoopla and we picked out the next 3 Ratchet retellings we're going to do together. So if you want to know what I'm going to be talking about next, peep that video. If you guys want to kind of make this like a book club and you guys want to like read it and then we could talk about it together, hell yeah. Do that. And if you just want to listen to me talk about it, that's fine too. But today we are going to be doing a Ratchet retelling on a book called Cruel Promise by Mika. So before we get into the Ratchet retelling, a couple disclaimers. Disclaimer number 1, numero uno. This is a retelling. This is not a review. Meaning, there will be spoilers. Spoiler alert. Spoilers up the wazoo. I am going to be telling you beat for beat what happens in this book. If you don't like that, if you want to read this book and you haven't yet, proceed with caution. But if you are a person that needs to know, does the dog die? Is there a stupid ex-girlfriend? Is there anything that could potentially piss me off? Do they not end up together? If these are things that you need to know before you go embark on a journey in a book, I'm your girl. Disclaimer number 2, numero dos. This is a Ratchet retelling. Meaning, your girl took notes, but that don't mean that the notes make any damn sense. So I may tell things out of order. I may rant and rave about things. I might completely omit crucial plot points. That is no fault of my own, okay? This is a Ratchet retelling and you chose to be here. So you get what you get. Where'd that aggression come from? What the hell? Listen, bitch. You know what you signed up for. Okay. Disclaimer number 3. Numero tres. These books are spicy. You like that? These books are spicy. Meaning, your girl is listening to smut. All right? Smut. Dirty books. So if y'all are here for the ride, if y'all are adults, okay? Y'all are here for the ride. Come with me. Walk with me. Let's go on this journey together. All right. Intro done. Disclaimers done. Let's keep it pushing. You guys, I have a bone to pick with this book. If you watched my last video when we went shopping for these books, please educate me. Did the synopsis of this book make it at all sound like it was a reverse harem? Now, for those of you who've never heard of reverse harem, it is also commonly referred to as a why choose, meaning it is about a female protagonist with many men that she loves equally, She loves them all equally. There's no favorites. And they all love her, and it's all about her happiness, her joy, her pleasure. And they are not jealous of each other. I think I shared when we were browsing that I personally do not jive with reverse harem. I'm a very monogamous person. I am like, if I get triggered by ex-girlfriends, you really think I'm feeling one chick, 12 dudes? Okay, that's a bit of an exaggerated figure, but it's not for me. But for you all, for all 43 of you gang, if you enjoy this retelling, there's 2 more books from this series. If this video gets like 10 likes and 3 comments saying, please, 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 Yvonne, continue, then okay, I will. But it's not my cup of tea. Again, there's a couple things. I don't like, there ain't no way she doesn't have favorites, okay? I have favorites. I have favorites when I listen to these. You'll find out who my favorite is when I talk about this. So how should that frustrates me. Number 1, that's frustrating. Number 2, I think I would be fine with reverse harem if like the dudes had different shifts. You know what I mean? Like Monday, Joe, Tuesday, Craig, Wednesday, Stefan. But like some of these books, and this one as well, will have Joseph, Craig, and Stefan in the same scene. And I have a really hard time like picturing how these things work, because the things that get described sometimes require a certain level of physicality, flexibility, and endurance that I just do not have. And I'm a very visual person, and I just personally don't feel comfortable drawing diagrams to figure out what piece went where. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean. You guys are grown-ups. So, I guess maybe that's disclaimer number 4. Disclaimer number 4. This is a reverse harem, and there's some freaky shit that happens in this book. So, if y'all thought the monsters were freaky, like the monsters weren't monsters? Give me some monsters. Give me some monogamous monsters. Hell yeah. Give me monsters. I don't care that their junk has tentacles or is ridged or whatever. I have a much easier time with a monogamous monster that loves his woman to death over, like in this book, 3 dudes with 1 girl. All, not just 3 dudes. 3 hermanos. 3 brothers. Kin. Blood-related brothers. With the same bitch. This author dirty. Mika Lane, you a freak. You are dirty. Ew. Ew. Your girl could never. Your girl could never. And like I said, if in a parallel universe I had to, it would be a schedule. Like I said. Never at the same time. Like this freaky bitch. Alright. Cruel Promise by Mika Lane. Let's open the book. It is a mafia romance. So, of course, it's a mafia romance. So how's the book open? We're at a funeral, Rich. We at a funeral. And at this funeral, it's the funeral of the parents that were the head of the mafia. They both died in a fire suspiciously. Only their bedroom was incinerated and they did not survive. So here is where we meet the oldest brother. Here is where we meet Vidak. And Vidak, if you were curious, is played by Chris Evans. Specifically Chris Evans when he was playing the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four, the movie from 2000 and I'm gonna guess 2. I hope I'm right. So Chris Evans is the Human Torch. So Vidak is bald. I don't know if I like that. I don't like bald dudes, but Chris Evans, I like Chris Evans, so him being bald is fine. So Vidak is there, and he is now the new head of the family. And so he's at the funeral. A bunch of people are shaking hands with him. This is also where we meet this old bitch named Dominica. And Dominica is played by the same girl that plays Lady Portia Featherington from Bridgerton in my mind, because they describe her as being really gaudy, having red hair and too much makeup, and just being ratchet. So Dominica was Vidak's dad's mistress. She also runs the club. In the club, we all fam. They have a secret underground club. And in the club, Dominica is in charge. That matters later. So Dominica is like shaking hands with Vidak going, Vidak, what's going to happen to me after this? Am I still going to have a job? And Vidak is like, bitch, my dad's dead. He's in a freaking casket. Why would you ask me that? Of course he thinks it, but he just is like, we'll see. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he turns around. Everybody's asking him for shit. He's sick of it. He's brooding. He does a lot of brooding in this book. I've had to fast forward some of his parts because he's just brooding, man, all the time. So he turns, and this pretty little thing with blue eyes and brown hair, petite, clearly poor because she has scuffed up shoes, and all she's got on is like red lipstick, no other makeup, is very French, very, very French chic. She's standing there, and he looks at her, and in my mind, he's looking at her, and it's like the angels are going, because he's like, oh, who is that? She's actually here to pay her respects. End scene. Yes, this is where the scene ends right here. Right abruptly, he's like, who's that? Who's that girl? ¿Quién es esa niña? Who's that girl? Señorita más fina. Who's that girl? Who's that girl by Madonna? Do you know that song? Okay, so now 2 years have passed, and this is the true opening of the book. We meet a young lady named Charlie. Charlie has an older sister that lives in New York. She doesn't really do much in this book, so I don't know why I'm bringing her up, because I'm assuming she's gonna do something in the future. And she has a little sister, a 16-year-old little sister named Evie, who's a scrappy little bitch. She's getting in fist fights. She's dressed like a little goth. She's just a little problem. She's a little shit, okay? And so Charlie is just trying to keep her family afloat since their mother was murdered a few years back. So, and ever since mom died, dad, who owns a pawn shop, has never been the same. Dad has been super withdrawn. And at first, the older sister was the mom to Charlie and Evie. But now that the sister moved out and moved to New York, these girls, I don't remember if they're in Boston or if they're in Chicago. I think they're in Boston. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the sisters, so Charlie is now Evie's pretty much mom and parent, because the dad, if he's not at the pawn shop, he's just absentee. He's just whack. So she Charlie, in order to get ahead and get her family ahead, she is going to school to be a bookkeeper. She has a best friend there. Anytime there's a best friend in a book and they don't say what she looks like, just random fact, I insert Megan the Stallion in there because Megan the Stallion would be my best friend if I had a female best friend in a book. I don't remember what the girl's name is. She doesn't really do much, but anyway, Charlie and her best friend Megan the Stallion, they are going to bookkeeping school. They're working really hard. They're not trying to be rich. They just want to make an honest living. They want to move out into they want to move to a different town. They want to just have a stable income and be able to actually go out to eat at a restaurant. That's something that Charlie mentions, is that she would love to one day just be able to afford to eat at a restaurant or to buy makeup or buy herself some new shoes or have normal opportunities that a middle class working person would have. So, it makes me sympathize with Miss Charlie. I'm like, oh, she's poor. She's cute. And she's trying to do what she can for her family. And she works part-time at the pawn shop. So she's working part-time at the pawn shop and she's going to school. And yeah, she's chill girl. So one day after school, she is going to start to come in to do her little part-time gig at the pawn shop. She comes in and her dad is caked in blood. He's bleeding from his head. And he's like, I wasn't paying attention that much, but he was like, I'm assuming he had his face on the glass on the table like this, like, ugh. And so Charlie freaks out. She's like, Dad, what's wrong? Oh my God. And at this point, when she's tending to her dad, we meet the 3 mafia sons come out from the back room. So we got Vidak, played by Chris Evans, playing Human Torch in the Fantastic Four from the 2000s. We have middle child. So Vidak is the oldest. Now we have middle child, Kier. They didn't really do much to physically describe Kier, but I'm on a Nicholas Galitzine kick, so Nicholas Galitzine, welcome to the house. You're always welcome to this house. And we have the youngest son comes out, and he is described as being taller than the other boys, thin, blonde, and blue-eyed, and doesn't really resemble his brothers. So, Austin Butler, welcome to the house. You too are always welcome in this house whenever you want to visit. All three of them. Not at the same time. Not like this filthy bitch. I'm kidding. I'm a married woman, okay? I'm kidding. Okay. So that rounds out the 3 brothers. They show up. They're wearing tailored, all black on black suits. And they're gorgeous. And they come in and they see her. And this is when I realized it was a reverse harem, because they all look at her and they're like, ooh. They're all creeping on her. They're all looking at her like she's the finest thing ever. And so she is freaking out because she recognizes Vidak. And she's like, what happened? What are you doing here? And Vidak is like, yeah, your dad owes us a shit ton of money, girl. You got to cough up 50 grand by tomorrow. Something like that. She says something like that. You got to cough up 50 grand. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to do it. And so I guess I should list out the personalities of the brothers. What Vidak, I wrote down, serial killer, the heck, no feelings, emotionally unavailable, WTF. For Kier, I wrote, mourning his dead ex-girlfriend, poor baby. For Nico, which I think his name should be pronounced Nico, but the audiobook pronounces it like Nico the Sicko. Anyway, Nico the Sicko. I wrote, baby girl, OMG. So Vidak don't give a fuck. Like, he's like, no, bitch. You owe me money. You owe me money. Either you die, or he dies. Some heads are gonna roll. Somebody give me my freaking money. And Kier is like not saying anything. He's just looking. And Nico is like, brother, like, you don't gotta be so mean. Like, what? Chill. Like, yeah. So that's the dynamic between them. Their exchange ends there. Now this girl, poor Charlie, is stressed out because she had no idea that her dad had financial issues or that he was associated to the mob at all. So now she's stressed out. She has, like, I think midterms or like a final coming up for her bookkeeping class. And all she wants is to, again, graduate, find a nice job, live a normal middle-class life. And she goes to another day. She's hanging out with Megan Thee Stallion. And she doesn't tell Megan Thee Stallion what's stressing her out. She's just like, oh, you know, my dad's ill. He's hurting. Because, yeah, his freaking skull got cracked open. Yeah, he's hurting. But she says that he's sick, and that's why she's worried. Anyway, she gets home after another day of school, and she finds her dad, and she's like, hey, Dad, you know, blah, 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 blah. I hope that we can figure this out, right? We can figure this out. And the dad's like, mm-hmm. He's going to be real cryptic. And tell me why this book loves a dramatic entrance. So she's talking to her dad, and her dad's being real evasive. And then again, in walk the three. We got Vidak, we got Kier, and we got Nico the Sicko. They walk in, and they're black on black on black on black on black on black suits. And they're looking sexy. And they come out, and again, Nico the Sicko and Kier ain't doing much talking. Nico's looking at her with puppy dog eyes. Kier is looking at her like pretty stoic, but you could kind of tell there's undertones of him feeling bad. And Vidak is like, slams a contract on her. And he's like, you belong to us now. You are going to pay off our debts. Or you're going to pay off your dad's debts. You're going to work for us in the club. You're going to work for us in the club. And we're going to sell you to the highest bidder. Well, he doesn't say that. Never mind. He says, in the club, you're going to work. And whatever else we tell you to do to make up the money that your dad owes us. And your dad told us you're a virgin. Let's hope that's true. Vidak, you freaking serial killer. He's crazy. So she's like, what? So he's like, you signed this contract saying you belong to us. But if you don't, we're going to kidnap Evie and kill your dad. Because I don't give a fuck. I will kill anybody. I want to kill somebody so bad. Because Vidak's crazy. Vidak's a serial killer. And she's like freaking out. But because Charlie is such a kind, selfless person, like, this poor girl is stuck in a rock and a hard place. And she's like, but no, I have exams coming up. And Vidak's like, too bad, bitch. Your dad owes 50 grand. He should have thought about that before, you know, he owed us all this money. Now he sold you to us. So you belong to us. Now you got to sign the contract, or I'm going to murk your dad, and I'm going to kidnap your sister, and I'm going to make you put your sister to work. So Charlie signs the paper, and Charlie is now property of their last name's Alexiv. She's now property of the Alexiv brothers. And so what the? Oh, I turned on my tablet. I'm not talking to you, girl. I'm talking about the brothers. So now she's property of the brothers. And they take her to this old abandoned, it looks like an old abandoned warehouse on the outside, but inside is the club. It's very fancy. On the top floor, they have like suites. So she's living in the suite. And she now belongs to the club, and she's going to be a skimpy waitress for the casino bar area. And at the same time, unbeknownst to her, the brothers are planning to auction off her virginity. Disgusting. As a way to repay the debts. Vidak don't give a crap. Like, he does not care what happens to Charlie at the end of this. He's like, I'm getting my money. We getting our bag. Family's Gucci. I don't care. Whatever happens to this girl, happens to this girl. Nico the sicko, on the other hand, feels really bad about Charlie's situation, to the point where Charlie is now in her like suite in the club crying, and Nico can hear it because Nico is next door to her. So he sends her food. He's like, okay, I don't know, girls like food, right? I'm just gonna send her some food. And I know she doesn't want to talk to any of us, but I'm gonna send her some food. So he does. Kier is looking at Charlie because Charlie bears a resemblance to Kier's ex-girlfriend named whatever her name is, who died in a okay, I'm piecing this together based on the context clues. I believe she died in a car accident where Kier was driving, and he's again has like, just like the dad, he hasn't been the same since, but Charlie looks a lot like the ex, and so he's intrigued, and so he's nice to her. The only one that's nice to her is Nico. Oh my god. Okay. So and Vidak again doesn't care. Next day she meets Dominica, who takes her down to the salon that's inside the club, and she gets waxed for the first time because they said, girl, you got a squirrel in your pants. Poor thing. So they get her waxed, and they teach her how to put on makeup. They dress her in skimpy outfits, and then she goes out to serve her first shift as a cocktail waitress. And this poor girl, who's 20 years old, a virgin, not used to anything, gets her booty pinched so many times. She gets her booty slapped. This girl is assaulted, okay, over and over by these gross, fat, drunk, stinky men who don't know anything about boundaries or being told no. And she's walking in heels for the first time. It's okay. These scenes really upset me. They made me so sad for Charlie. And Nico feels bad. Kier kind of feels bad. Vidak does not care. Okay? Vidak does not care. Okay. Pause real quick. I have said that I like my men evil. I like the morally gray, morally black. When it comes to everybody else, I do not like books where the dude's an asshole the entire time and is an asshole to the love interest. So, I do not like Vidak. Vidak, this for you. I do not like Vidak. Where are we at? Okay. So she's living in the club. Dominica gave her a makeover. She serves her first shift. She's crying. And so then Vidak and the brothers are like, hey, Charlie, come join us for lunch. So they go to, I'm assuming, their dining area, because they live in the club too. They live upstairs in the club. And Vidak exploits her vulnerabilities, in the sense that they know that she's never experienced anything adult in her life. And so they feed her a sandwich, and then Vidak is like, come sit right here on my lap. And this girl does, because she's attracted to Vidak. Why? I don't know. And so she's sitting facing this way, Vidak, right? She's sitting like this. And Vidak does, like, he does one of these with her. And keep in mind, Kier and Nico are in the room. And he proceeds to put her on display in front of the brothers. And she finds joy at the end of this encounter. Kier and Nico the sicko, both of you sickos, are watching their brother do these things to Charlie. Eating sandwiches like nothing. They're like into it. They're like, oh yeah, that's the stuff right there. Your own brother? Girl. Oh. Oh. Ugh. There is no universe where I would watch my sibling enjoy a partner and enjoy it. No. Wash my eyes with acid, bro. So that happens. And I'm upset. I'm upset because Vidak is the rudest one, and he's the first one that gets access to Charlie in this way. No. Ew. Okay. So she's working in the club. Some time passes. Now we meet this seedy type, this dude named Dimitri, who, in my mind, because we don't talk about what he looks like, but he's a bad guy. And you know who plays bad guys / in the middle guys really well? Barry Keoghan. Welcome to the house, Barry Keoghan. You were fantastic in Saltburn. You creeped me out. So now we got Barry Keoghan playing Dimitri. So Dimitri is the son of okay, let's give some backstory. We got the three sickos parents, and we got, I'm assuming it's another guy, okay? They're buddies. They owned a club together. And he dies, gives his share to dad over here, where Dimitri's over here. So Dimitri got snubbed, and he feels like he's entitled to part of the club. Okay? I think that's the vibe. So Dimitri is just in there stirring some shit. Okay? He puts his hands on Charlie. And Nico sees this, and he separates him, and he's like, you're not touching Charlie like that. He steps up, and he is like, no, you're not touching Charlie. And that's like when Charlie starts getting soft with Nico, because Nico the sicko is like defending her, standing up to Dimitri. And he's like, nah, don't be coming around here touching on these models, especially not this one. This one's special. He's genuinely nice to her. He takes her to the break room. He gives her some wine, and like he talks with her after that encounter, and he ends up sharing that the family secret, his family secret, is that, I mean, if you could tell, because he doesn't look like his brothers, is that he technically is not a son, not a son of the guy. They have the same mom, different dads. So mom stepped out on dad, had Nico the sicko, and dad knew but still adopted Nico the sicko and raised Nico as a legitimate child, one of his own. And he never mistreated them, but it was just the family secret that Nico had a different father. And so they have like a vulnerable moment. She talks about my mom was murdered, blah, blah, blah. They have kind of a heart to heart. So they look at each other with little googly eyes. And that's a cute moment between her and Nico. Nico, baby girl, OMG. And so then after that, the Vidak sees that Nico and her had like a genuine like connection, and Nico goes, stupid. Like he smacks the back of the head of Nico, and he's like, stop. You're not supposed to get any attachments to this bitch. She's ours. She's our money. We're gonna sell her. I don't care. And Nico's like, can't we buy her? Like, can't we buy her and make her ours? And he's like, stop it, Nico. You're stupid. You've always been the stupid brother. Nobody likes you, Nico. And so, because Vidak's crazy. All right. So now we've met Nico. And now we get to a point where Charlie gets a text from, or a call from the school. Not her school, but her sister's high school. And they're like, hey, Evie's fighting again. She's in the principal's office. You gotta come to Evie. You gotta talk to her. Because they've gotten to the point where they treat Charlie like the guardian, because the dad is so shit that any behavioral issues and stuff, it's Charlie. So Charlie tries to sneak out to club, and Kier catches her outside, and he's like, what are you doing? And she explains like, hey, no, like I'm not trying to run away because I know what's at stake, but I just got the call from the school and my sister's in trouble and I need to go talk to the principal. And Kier believes her, and he's like, I'll take you. And they have a kind moment. He ends up sharing about the dead ex-girlfriend. He doesn't say that she looks like her, but he's just like, yeah, no, like she died, and I've just been by myself ever since. So they have a heart-to-heart moment. She goes to see the sisters, and the sister is like, where you been, or why aren't you coming home? And then she's like, nah, we can't talk about that, because Charlie knows what's at stake. She doesn't want to endanger her sister. She doesn't want to endanger her best friend Megan Thee Stallion, who's also been texting her. And she's just stuck in this situation, and she knows that there's something going on, but like she knows that she's meant for more than just bartending or like being a cocktail waitress, but she hasn't figured out what she's actually supposed to, like what her job or what she's actually going to have to do to repay the debts. So she's been living in suspense. So anyway, she has heart-to-hearts with Nico the sicko and Kier, and that night, there is a scene where okay, all right, there's a scene where she pleases Nico, and Kier finds them after that, and Kier is like, well, now I want in on this. And they make it to the bedroom, and Kier is getting what was the word I used? Pleased, amused by Charlie, while Nico amuses Charlie. So Kier, Nico, what? Okay, first of all, how do you have the multitasking ability to feel great and also make someone else feel great. So it's like this weird human centipede shit happening between the three of them. And I was sitting there listening, going, this face, this exact face. was confused. I was confused. And I was. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Now, remember, Charlie's a virgin, so they're just doing whatever they can to skirt around it. Kind of like Tyler Bell did in Priest. They're just clinging to technicalities at this point. They're stimulating everything else that they can, except for busting, the part in a woman that breaks when she's busted. So now, that scene ends. They tell Vidak about it the next day. And Vidak gets upset with his brothers because he thinks that they're getting soft on Charlie. And they don't. He's like, no, she's supposed to be sold. You guys know what this is for. You cannot be forming any connections with her. That's not what we're supposed to do. It's not what we're doing here. Also, at the same time, Charlie has a doctor come to her at the club, and he verifies that she is unbroken. Disgusting. And so now she's starting to kind of piece together what's happening, but because no one's explicitly told her that's she's being auctioned off, she's hoping that that's not the case. And so after all the hinting, Nico is the one to tell his brothers, like, hey, I think it's messed up that we haven't told Charlie what the plan is to get our money back. And I think that we should be decent human beings and tell Charlie what the plan is with her. And Vidak is like, nah, we don't need that drama. We're just going to sell her and get rid of her. No, we're not doing that. And Kier is like, bro, no, we should probably tell her what she's in for, because it's gonna be messed up either way. Do you want Dominica to tell her? Because Dominica's crazy. Dominica is a garbage human being. She's out here roughing up the girls, pulling hair, being nasty, and nobody likes Dominica. And all the brothers in separate POV chapters, they all talk about how much they hate Dominica, but they don't get rid of her because she was the dad's mistress, and they need the club to be in good standing before they fire Dominica. So anyway, so Kira's like, I don't want Dominica to be the one to tell her. And Nico's like, me either, bro. And Vidak is like, I don't care. I truly could not care any less how Charlie finds out or what happens to Charlie. Psychopath. And so, after all the hinting, guess who tells her? Dominica. After these hoes did all sorts of things to Charlie. There's other scenes I'm probably omitting. There's scenes a lot, to the point where I asked myself if this book had a plot. So she finds out what's going to happen to her and that she's going to be auctioned off. And she also finds out that Dominica sent some pictures out to a nasty guy named Alexei, who I have being played by Anthony Hopkins because he's gross. Well, Anthony Hopkins is an acting titan, first of all, but he's old. Okay, for a 20-year-old, he's old and gross. Okay, Sir Anthony Hopkins is not gross by any means, but I'm just saying for a 20-year-old, okay, don't come for me. Anthony Hopkins is in the house. Alexei is known for purchasing virgins and destroying them. Like, I will break you. Like, there was talk about one that after after this stuff, she could no longer have kids because of how forceful and aggressive he was with her. He put in an early bid. And so now Nico, the sicko, and Kira are like, we cannot have Charlie go with this man. And Vidak is like, nah, we need the money. I don't want her to go with him, but like, we need the money. So we got to do what we got to do. And so now the brothers are like, nah, this is messed up. Then they meet with Alexei at some point. So Alexei comes down to the club and he meets Charlie and he gets handsy with Charlie. And at that point, Vidak sees it and he's like, no. And he kind of diffuses the situation, takes Charlie away. And then he fools around with Charlie again in the break room. Girl, that break room nasty. They just get freak nasty up in that break room. So they mess around and she is like, can you guys buy me? Like, I like all three of you and I don't. First of all, bitch, you like Vidak? Vidak, you like him? Why? What redeeming qualities has Vidak shown you this entire book? Why? Whatever. Vidak skirts around the question. And so that happens. Now is he what else? Okay, so should they mess around, right? And at the end of them messing around, Kier busts into the room and he's like, Vidak, Nico's in trouble. And they're like, oh no, what's wrong? And then Kier is like, Nico and Dimitri are having a standoff out in the boonies somewhere because they lost a gun shipment. And Nico immediately was like, it's Dimitri's ass. Because they all are convinced that Dimitri is the one that killed their parents. Because he's a jealous, hating ass bitch. And they all said, he's a little bitch. He killed our parents. Our guns are now missing. It's his little bitch ass. They know it's him. So Nico the sicko went to go start shit with Dimitri. And now the brothers have to go straighten things out because things between Dimitri and Nico the sicko are coming to a head. So they go and Charlie follows them and gets in the car with them. And they go. And they talk some shit. They talk back and forth. Then they find out Charlie's in the car because this dumbass gets out of the car because she wants to eavesdrop. So then they pull her by the ponytail. They pull her, they throw her out on the gravel. And Dimitri is like, I will forgive this baseless accusation because mafia people are weird about their image and shit. And he's like, I'll forgive the slight of you accusing me of doing this shit if you give me Charlie. I want Charlie. And now the guys are like, no, you cannot have Charlie. And then at this point, the Grand Poobah, I don't remember what his name, the pecan, they describe it as the pecan, the pecan. The guy, I guess there's like a head guy that they call the pecan. I'm pretty sure that's wrong, but that's what's coming to my mind right now. So that guy, he's played by Daniel Craig. So the pecan comes out and from his car and he's like, we got to settle this. What's going on between you guys? And then Dimitri, is like, oh, they made fun of me and they said that I stole their shit and I did it and the only way to make me happy is if you give me that bitch. That one right there. That's who I want. And the pecan is like, okay. If that'll squash everything, you can have her. And then the brothers are like, no. You cannot have her. And Vidak, at this point, this is the only time And maybe, and I feel like this had selfish intentions. It wasn't necessarily because he cared about Charlie. I don't believe he cares about Charlie, but he's like, no, she's actually under contract. She's our property, and we have to auction her off to recoup some debts. And that auction is happening this weekend. So we cannot give you Charlie. And the pecan is like, fair enough. I agree. But you need to allow Dimitri to bid on Charlie. And Nico does a hard swallow because if you ask me, I think Nico is the one that actually cares about Charlie the most. And I think that Nico is the one that Charlie cares about the most. So you cannot tell me that there's no fucking favorites in a reverse harem, because there sure as shit are favorites. At least Nico is my favorite, despite Kier being played by Nicholas Galitzine. No, Nico is my favorite. But so that altercation happens. They come back from that shit, and they are so worried about Charlie being caught, like her safety being compromised, that they move her into their shared suite. And that night, Nico sleeps next to Charlie to comfort her, and they sleep holding hands. Right? Tell me that's not the biggest baby girl. Oh my god. So cute. So they sleep holding hands. No touching. No funny business. He doesn't ask anything from her because he knows that she's going through a lot. He holds her hand while they sleep. Okay, granted, there was some funny business that happened in the limo on the way home from that altercation with Dimitri and the Grand Poobah, but we're not going to talk about that because I have a really hard time describing the scenarios anyway. But it was another human centipede type thing with, this time, Vidak watching the three of them. Freaks. Oh my god. Okay. So, Charlie, it finally sinks in that she's in some deep doo-doo. Then the next day, after they stay in the shared suite, they decide to move Charlie into their compound because they have a whole other property that they don't really stay in, but it's like max security. So they move her into the compound. And now we've made it to the day of the auction. So Vidak arrives at the compound and gives her a dress. A dress, not an address. A dress for the auction. And she's being very short with him. And he's like, what? You don't want to talk to me now? And she's like, no, I don't want to talk to you. You're the one that wants to auction me off, bitch. Because the other brothers, you get the vibe that they don't want to sell her. And if they could buy her, they would. Like Nico in particular. Kier too. Kier does care about her. But Vidak has just been an asshole this whole time. But no. He looks at her and I'm so mad, you guys. Like, Nico literally slept next to her holding her hand. Didn't ask anything of her. Just emotionally supportive. He's there. He's handsome. He's sweet. But you know who gets her virginity? Vidak, the serial killer. I'm so mad. Charlie was a really good character, right? Like, this whole way through, I was genuinely, like, feeling sorry for her. I was rooting for her. And for her to pick Vidak. Like, we're serious. This is who we're picking? Like, if I'm gonna bust it open for anybody, it's Nico the Sicko. Like, what? What? Oh Oh, best believe I paused this book and I went because I was livid. I was livid. So she smashes Vidak, of all people. And she's like, now what are we going to do? I'm not a virgin anymore. You can't auction me now. And he's like, I'm still going to auction you, bitch. But we got a plan. Watch. So then they get to the auction. And she sees Alexei show up. She sees Dimitri show up. And the people are starting to show up. And then I'm kind of fuzzy on this, but I believe a fight breaks out. And in the chaos, whoop, that was a burp. And in the chaos, Miss Charlie gets up and runs for it. She makes a break for it. She runs for it. She makes it outside. She gets inside of a taxi cab and she's like, go, go, go. I don't give a hell. I don't give a who. Where you take me. She gives them an address, I think. And the cab drives off. And that, my friends, is where book one ends. Of course, on a cliffhanger. Because it wants us to listen to the next two books. Which, do you guys really want me to do that? I will do it for you. Not for Vidak. Absolutely not for Vidak. Vidak. Catch you some. Oh my god. Alright, friends. That is it for today. That is the Ratchet retelling of Cruel Promise by Mika Lane. Mika Lane, I just want to know what redeeming qualities you found in your character Vidak that you felt he deserved Charlie's virginity. This shit kept me up. I was mad. This shit kept me up at night. I'm like, what? Are we serious? Are we serious? Maybe it's the 30-year-old in me. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. He's a freaking scrub. He sucks. But okay, guys. Thank you for joining me on this Ratchet retelling. If you liked what you saw, please give me a like, share, subscribe to the channel. A lot of y'all that are watching aren't even subscribed, so do me a solid. I want to get to 100 subscribers so I can eat those 12 tacos. Please, this is more for me than you. I want to eat 12 tacos in a sitting. Thank you all for showing me so much love these last uploads. Truly appreciate it. And that being said, deuces, y'all.